Happy holidays, toy fans. Welcome to episode 18, Ornaments, Collecting, and Comic Books, plus our special top 10 favorite toys, specifically focused on the figure genre of the 2020 pandemic year. I'm your host, Kyle Walters.
And I'm Brock Lauer, and welcome to our episode 18 of Talking Toys, our last episode of the year. Hopefully this year, though it didn't serve everyone super well, hopefully the new year will give us a fresh start because it's been a rough one. So on to updates. Coming out of Mezco, you get a Predator figure, and it'll come with a skull, 2 interchangeable mouths, shoulder gun, light-up helmet, and plasma caster. Pre-order that right now on their website. Hot Toys is releasing a Moff Gideon figure with blaster and dark saber sword. That's coming out of Hot Toys. And also McFarlane released a Batman Beyond figure with a jet booster effects you could put on the bottom of his feet. And also the 3O company is releasing 12-inch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They're all going to be masked, not unmasked. So that's 12-inch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So out of all those I just kind of said, Kyle, any of those you find interesting or personally?
I'm curious how well the Predator will compete with our friends at NECA.
Mm-hmm.
It might compete well, but ultimately I know when I think it was Figma tried to do a Predator, people didn't like it as well as the NECA one. So it's interesting because NECA owns that market. So I'm curious.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's a very well made figure, that's for sure. A lot of accessories, interchangeable hands, and the necklaces, and the shoulder blaster, and the mouths and stuff. I think you could take that mask off, I believe.
I think so too.
Yeah, so that's coming out of Mezco and some of those other companies. Not a whole lot of updates today. Just kind of like it's been a month and just not a whole lot right now with the holiday season coming on and about. But anywho, did you pick up anything interesting lately?
Old school Battle Scarred Gundam. Their Battle Scarred series was really cool. It looked like the Gundams were fighting, and I bought the Gundam was Nataku from Endless Waltz from the Gundam Wing franchise, and it looks really cool. It's old school. They're still pretty sought after because it looks like they were engaged in the various battles from that show and movie. But
Yeah. Anything you're looking for that you can't find in stores that you're just trying either online or in stores?
mostly just the Mandalorian 2-pack.
Nobody can find that.
Right.
I can't find it. I can't even find it online. And that Spider-Man. Those are my two most wanted figures right now. The Mandalorian Deluxe, and also that hopefully they'll get those more back in stock. It's been a very, even online, just trying to find figures, because I'm even trying to find like Cara Dune, Black Series figure, IG-88. Even that old guy from The Mandalorian, he was that older guy that says, "I have spoken." I think I would wait on that figure, because I think they're going to make that figure with that thing he rides on, that creature from the show. I'd personally wait on that figure because I think they're going to make a deluxe version where he'll have that creature he rides on. Yeah, so those are the things I'm looking for. Also coming out of G.I. Joe is the Zartan figure, and also the 3O company is also releasing a Storm Shadow figure and Snake Eyes figure for you G.I. Joe fans. Also coming out of Marvel Legends, you're getting a deluxe MODOK with interchangeable faces. He'll have 2 faces and blast effects to make him look like he's floating. You'll also be getting a Silver Surfer, which will be a Walgreens exclusive. Also with a Nova figure, which will also be a Walgreens exclusive. And this ashen-looking gray Deadpool from the movie, that'll be an Amazon exclusive. Any of those interest you?
I find it funny personally that I don't know who decides this, but I've noticed that Walgreens, their exclusives are all related to the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man. That's it. Well,
Yeah.
I should say that's most of what it is, and then they'll have like a random Iron Man or a random, Scott Lang Ant-Man that no one wants.
Yeah, like the Walgreens of exclusives have been kind of like meh lately. I don't know if I really got any Walgreens
I don't think you
exclusives.
did. I got some though. I love
Yeah.
my Crimson Dynamo is cool and my Iron Man 2020 is cool, but maybe the Iron Man 2020 was bad luck because they released it during 2020 and 2020 has been kind of shit. So
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of.
it's funny because they purposely obviously released it because it would have been silly to release, you know, Iron Man 2020 in like 2015.
Right, right.
But it's just like, of course. The one thing though about these Iron Man figures that they've released is their blaster effects.
Yeah.
The aesthetic looks so cool, but they eventually seem to fall over, at least for me. And they even showed one of them was on Shartimus Prime's channel. One of them had fallen over at SDCC last year too. So I think maybe they need to put a little more weight behind it instead of just how they molded the plastic with it kind of being open at the bottom. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, they make the effects cool, and it's just whether it can hold and stand the figure. I think I wish that was more of a problem in the figure community, collecting community, where figures just they fall over a lot and they fall over really easily, and it's hard to stand them because one, they're either holding something or they could be top heavy or they could be wearing high heels. I kind of wish that Marvel Legends kind of solved that issue where they have like clear stands that are transparent, like clear plastic. They don't have to be huge stands, just a little disc under their feet that just gives them more of a balance. I wish they released something like that. Who knows? They might. I mean, they do have the stands now with the hooks and stuff, so or the clamps and whatnot. But I really do hope they do eventually come down to solving that issue and figuring that out. Just clear stands on the feet and that stands the figure up a little bit better. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. I know people are like, I don't like stands, and it's like I'm just saying it just has to look transparent and just have the figure stand. Like
I definitely like figures that stand better without stands, but I wouldn't be opposed to if you could do it both ways. I just know that like some of McFarlane's figures only stand with a stand, and it's just adds onto the checklist of why some of his DC figures annoy me.
mm-hmm.
Like with just looking at him, the fact that Robin, I can't get it to stand without a stand. I don't know, it's annoying. But
it,
I would like them to be included because I remember DC Collectibles when they included their stands were cool, and when they included the stands, you're like, oh, cool. And then when they took them away, I mean, we felt like, why am I paying more now for less? So yeah, I
right,
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind paying an extra, I don't know, dollar
right,
for if they included a stand that maybe cost them 2 cents to manufacture.
right.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I'm just saying.
And like you said, it could just be a clear disc
Uh,
that you just plug into the peg hole underneath their feet.
exactly, and it just helps them stand. They just balance. That's the biggest problem. I mean, it's just like yeah, exactly. You don't have to see it, and it's like when they do make a stand, it's like a big circle, but it's like too small for posability and stuff like that when it comes to like stands or platforms and stuff like that. So usually it's like too small and it's not like big enough, for like the figure to actually like maneuver and stuff. Also, the Marvel Legends releasing a Tri-Sentinel wave with that new Ultron, classic looking Ultron figure. He has like the smoke or this bubbles effect coming out of him. Professor X, Cyclops, Wolverine, and Magneto come in that, as well as some Professor Woman. I don't know the name, but that'll be the wave for the modern X-Men Tri-Sentinel wave, and also have Jean Grey in it as well to build a figure of Tri-Sentinel, a modern-looking Sentinel. Also, Mafex is making a 6-inch Homelander figure from the show called The Boys, which I highly recommend. It is an awesome show. And NECA will be making 7-inch version of a Homelander and also of the characters from The Boys. I highly recommend that show. It's like a lot better than like a lot of like present day Marvel stuff and DC. So I can't get enough of that show. I just finished it. There's 2 seasons out now. I highly recommend it as a comic book superhero fan. It really just makes it seem more realistic as to like what if superheroes were actually real. So
It does look really good. It reminds me of ironically enough, I still have to finish the last comic, and it ended like years ago. But there was a 13-issue miniseries that kind of dove in that. It's through Image Comics. It's called Sidekick. Ironically enough, I guess Image has released 2 different books called Sidekick. So someone messed that up in their catalog. But anyways, it was really good. It was like the basically because they spoil it in one of the books or one of the things, but basically it talks about how the main superhero, like their equivalent to like a Batman, faked his own death, and
Yeah.
then Robin has to like contemplate just different things, and he goes basically they're Robin, and it's really good in how they contemplate, and they show just different superheroes in real life and how like sometimes people are can be like dicks to the superheroes, and it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like the reverse of that with the boys. The superheroes are the dicks. But without spoiling too much,
And I
it's
think it's
worth the watch.
it's TVMA too. I think right.
Yeah, it's gory, but it has like that Game of Thrones edginess where it's surprising, gory, and it's like blackmail and stuff like that. You just gotta watch it. I don't want to spoil it, but it's like it's totally worth the watch. You will thank me for telling you to watch this.
I can't think of the name who the main guy is too, but I know he's a famous-ish actor. I can't think of his
Oh
name.
yeah, the guy who plays Butcher. I can't remember his name right off the bat, but yeah, he's kind of famous. He's from Lord of the Rings,
Yeah, because I
and
could definitely see it too. Because
he's in Thor Ragnarok.
I feel like they try to make that's one of the reasons why even though being from Northeast Ohio, Superman will never be my favorite superhero. Will always be Batman because Batman you can relate because Superman is just like, well, how are you? I'm here to save you, and it's like I feel like whereas Batman's just more like I don't he deals with more issues because I feel like superheroes are a lot more complicated than just being the Boy Scout. I feel like
Oh yeah, yeah, they are.
sometimes which I feel like is another reason why Spider-Man 2 was so related because with great power comes great responsibility at the point where Spider-Man it's in the first movie when he was just like hey I didn't see where that was my problem when
Yeah.
he lets after the guy robs the guy who ripped him off. So I always like that kind of diving into a person's psyche.
Uh huh.
Even why I love certain animes too, like a Death Note. Not sound like a hipster, but that Death Note, damn, has that blown up in years.
Yeah, it's gotten really popular. I mean, who?
They even created a terrible Netflix show, which Willem Dafoe though was the only good part of that Netflix movie. But
Really?
yeah,
I hear like from people told me that it's good. I don't know.
well,
I don't know if you've seen it.
people are entitled to their wrong opinion. The anime is amazing. The
Maybe
anime,
that was what I
yeah,
was
yeah,
told.
they probably told you the anime.
Yeah, maybe it was that.
Yeah, because the anime is one of the best animes of all time, one of the best pieces of fiction.
Okay,
But
that's what they told
but
us to watch the anime.
the movie didn't really
Didn't hold up.
it didn't hold up except for Willem Dafoe as Ryuk, which is the Shimigami or the Angel of Death.
Yeah.
Basically, without spoiling anything,
Right.
I know you're not an anime guy,
Yeah.
but I definitely recommend it. But and plus, it's only like 30 some episodes, so it's relatively short. But basically, the premise.
Relatively short.
Eh,
30 episodes is short.
but basically, the premise is a Shimigami or like an Angel of Death is bored,
Yeah.
so he drops a Death Note to Earth,
Mm.
and the Death Note shows if you write someone's name in the Death Note, they die.
Okay.
And it divulges the specificity of like what has to happen with that. But basically, the guy who picks up the Death Note is like the top student in Japan. He's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
He's very intelligent. He's a very good guy. And it just goes to show basically the old saying of absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that without spoiling anything,
Right.
it just goes to show that like how they tie that quote
Yeah.
around the show and from a psychological standpoint, I remember just like watching it and there's gonna be so many times where you're gonna be like, no.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna be like, whoa. Just little like simple word
Yeah.
phrase simple one word phrases you're gonna say so often because it gets really gripping and you can tell obviously the person who invented this whole premise is very very good at it. Unfortunately, it's spawned a really garbage someone rap song because it's
Yeah.
not to sound like a hipster, but when something gets popular, unfortunately, like people try to just be like, oh, that's cool. I'll use this to sell. I'll use this as like a name of a rap song and not really understand how the anime works, and I'll just use it to make money. And you're just like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a hipster, but like
Right.
respect the art. But yeah, no, I think it's one of my favorite animes of all time. I'd put it up there with my Dragon Balls, my Gundams, my Rurouni Kenshin, all that fun stuff.
Cool. I forget what company is making this, but a new retro Thundercats line is being released, and
The 5 points for articulation.
yeah.
Super 7.
Oh, thank you.
Out of San Francisco.
I did not get the company, but yeah, you came through for me there. They make Lion-O, Jackalman, and Mumra figures. If you just didn't want to pay for those hard to find, more expensive 6-inch figures, so if you want the retro figures, you could get those.
Yeah, they're the same company that makes the 6-inch, and you know me, because I love to, sometimes you're like, man, I want to collect a new line, but then unfortunately I was like, Thundercats is fine, but I don't have a passion for it like I do for my DC, Marvel, and my anime, so I just decided not to. But I love Super 7. I always see that guy doing interviews. He seems really cool, but they're with the reaction figure game, they're absolutely killing the reaction. I have two from a box. I don't from a mystery box I used to get. One of them's Frankenstein, and it looks really cool. I have that on my mantle, and the other one is a TMNT figure, and I know it's a cardinal sin, but I know you and I both just don't care about TMNT, which is ironic because I love Street Sharks, even though Street Sharks is a blatant ripoff of TMNT. But I love Street Sharks, and I think it's just because we weren't 80s kids, we were 90s kids, and
Yeah.
Street Sharks came out in the 90s.
You just don't appreciate that. It's not that I don't care about TMNT, it's just that I didn't grow up with it, so I don't value it as much as some other people. So it's just funny how that is like if you're not exposed to it at a very young age, you just don't have any respect for it. I mean, it's just it doesn't grab you, and that's when you're young and you don't have anything else. That's when it stays with you forever. It's like when it grabs you.
From a comic book standpoint, though, like I would love to someday meet Kevin Eastman or the other guy, because I thought it was awesome when on the Toys That Made Us episode, where they discussed the thing that made their friendship, that brought their friendship together, was the fact that they both love Jack Kirby. So if you love Jack Kirby, that goes to show that obviously you're very big into comics. But like you said, you and me would just, it's like how I like, when it comes to, I guess, the mech or robot genres. I love Gundam, but I don't really care about Transformers. Transformers is cool. I also think it's a good thing I don't care about Transformers, because the best Transformers, like, even though I watched a little bit of Beast Wars as a kid, they're releasing these Beast, like Takara Tomy and whatnot. A lot of these people are releasing these Beast Wars figures for like the master, like their equivalent of like a master grade in Gundam, like the more high quality, more expensive one. And some of these can go for $200, $300, $400, and I'm like, thank God I don't collect that, because that's insanity.
And speaking of Transformers, War for Cybertron minifigures are being released by Hasbro, such as Bumblebee and Spike. Sentinel is releasing 6.5 fight armor line figures. They're like Iron Man armor versions of Captain America, Iron Man, and Deadpool, as if they had their own Iron Man armors. They kind of look metallic looking. That's from Sentinel, releasing those figures. They're releasing Iron Man, Deadpool, and Captain America.
Those look amazing.
Those do look cool. I think did they make a Spider-Man one? I can't remember. Maybe that was a different thing. That might have been a different.
No, I think they did. I think they did Iron Spider.
Yeah, I think they did.
They have. They're releasing. Sentinel is releasing a statue.
Uh-huh.
Then they're releasing the Iron Spider. They already released the Iron Spider as in the Hot Toys version, but this is for their armor line. They are releasing one. But no, I like Sentinel. They're very cool. And obviously, if I get it, it looks like they're releasing Captain America in May. I don't know about the regular Iron Man, but it looks Iron Spider. It just says fourth quarter. I think their fourth quarter is considered for their fiscal year. I think is considered a normal fourth quarter would end in like September, October, but so maybe around then, or maybe slight. But usually with fourth quarter, it all depends on Chinese New Year, because that's where the manufacturing plants, a lot of them are in China. It might get backed up to December. You never know. But yeah.
Also coming out of the Black Series from Hasbro, 6-inch line, archive figures such as a repop of Dread Admiral Thrawn, Hoth Luke, and Hoth Han in their coats, what they were wearing in Empire Strikes Back, and Commander Cody, all kind of repops. In case you haven't got them the first time, you'll now be able to get them. Kind of pretty much generic line. I think I'll get the Thrawn because he's going to be a very popular character, I feel like, in Star Wars, if you've been following Star Wars lately. So.
Oh, Thrawn is...
And there's a book about him, too. Like, he has his own book, Star Wars book.
It was really fascinating because I used to work with a guy, and he told me Thrawn is his favorite character.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and I said, because I've never seen the Clone Wars or anything, and he said, I guess Thrawn is like, in a sense, he's as complicated as the Punisher, because I guess Thrawn isn't necessarily evil, but he's not necessarily good. I guess the psychology of Admiral Thrawn is really fascinating, so I'm definitely interested in him. And I know I need to eventually see the Clone Wars and Rebels. I need to see all that.
Yeah, I hear good things, so I might have to get into them. I'm not usually into animation, but when it comes to Star Wars, but
I can't wait to get my Tusken Raider though. Ah, finally!
Oh, they're repopping that one, aren't they?
Yeah, they're repopping the Tusken Raider, and then they're making Boba Fett Deluxe, and I've been just procrastinating it in the Boba Fett market, but I think that'll finally be the Boba Fett for me, because I have the white Boba Fett, which I'm surprised you never wanted that homage. It looks cool.
Yeah.
But I'll eventually get a Boba Fett.
All I could say is watch The Mandalorian.
I've watched 4 episodes
of the first season.
That's
okay. So you're getting there. You're almost there. Just catch up. Cause the finale, man. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the finale of season 2.
Jon Favreau is just single-handedly saving the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Especially after season 2. It was like a breath of fresh air based on all the crap you've had to deal with Star Wars. And we'll have our own podcast just talking about Star Wars, an episode of that. That might be the next one. Just stuff like that.
I definitely would recommend to anyone who, like me, I love Christmas. The Christmas, basically I think Netflix calls it the holiday movies that made us.
Yeah.
And they have Nightmare Before Christmas, which I love, and then they have Elf. Well, in Elf, I never knew this, but Jon Favreau only directed one film before Elf. So not a lot of people believed in him at that time, but obviously Elf is a holiday classic.
Yeah.
Which is funny because most of my favorite holiday movies are from like other than if you take out Christmas Vacation, Elf, and The Nightmare Before Christmas, most of them are from like the 70s and the 60s and the 50s, 50s and 40s.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Elf, one of his goals was basically to create a holiday classic, and the fact that he created a holiday classic from 2003, I think is really cool. Now, granted, I know you talked about how you love Fred Claus. I've never seen it.
You never saw Fred.
I heard it's funny. I heard it's genuinely funny.
It is. I can't believe I've never seen it, man. I mean, it's just kind of sad because I think the sad part is like the past 10, 20 years, it's like the last Christmas movies I've seen were Polar Express, Elf, Fred Claus, and those were the most recent ones.
Polar Express as a kid, though, I still think Tom Hanks obviously is one of the greatest actors of all time. But as a kid, you're like, wow, Polar Express is really cool. And then I watched it again this year as an adult, and I'm just like, oh, I see why people didn't necessarily like it. It's kind of not very good.
I liked it,
but I loved Elf, and I will forever love Elf. It's
I like Polar Express.
Castle Noel in Medina, Ohio, where I live, actually has a Christmas museum where they actually have cast worn of the Elf clothing, and it's funny because I remember it made news in Ohio because he was trying to bid on one of the Rudolph puppets. And I don't think he ended up getting the thing, and or I don't think he ended up with the winning bid, but it's fascinating because it was the collector was from New York, and I remember when I went through the Castle Noel a few years back, I wondered, I was like, because he had a lot of cool things, he had a lot of cool stuff from the Grinch and other products, but I remember thinking like, why doesn't he have anything from Rudolph? Santa Claus is Coming to Town, A Year Without a Santa Claus, any of those. I can't think of the production company, but he had nothing from those stop motion films. And then I found out because once the Rudolph came out, and the Rudolph was supposed to fetch like 200K, and it ended up fetching nearly $1 million. And then I found out, oh,
The puppet?
yeah,
Yeah.
I ended up finding out the fact that like, oh, those are considered like if you get a piece from any of those puppet movies because they started off as TV specials in the 60s and 70s and whatnot. I was like, oh, they're considered like the creme de la creme, like for Christmas collectors, I guess. Really hardcore Christmas collectors, everyone wants it because they're so beloved. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's why he doesn't have any, because they're so damn
I
expensive.
remember they released like a whole bunch of figures from like Santa Claus and Rudolph and stuff like that, and the Abominable Snowman, and those were very popular. They made a bunch of those figures.
Those were really, really cool. NECA released the Heat Miser and Snow Miser, and it's funny because I love those figures, and I've thought about getting into those, but the thing that makes me laugh the most is I think he was voiced by Fred Astaire,
Yeah.
but in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, I think it's considered the mail truck guy
Yeah.
who is like the narrator
Yeah.
with his little truck. That is seen as one of the go-to figures. It's the most expensive in
Yeah.
any of them. I saw one.
He was in the Easter Bunny is Coming to Town.
I've never seen that, but
It's not one most people have seen. It was never really on television. I only know about it because my mom got it for me from the library, and it was around Easter, and we just watched it. I'm like, oh, so he's that same character as in the Easter Bunny's Coming to Town, except he's riding a train as opposed to the mail truck.
I'll have to check it out because I remember when I
Yeah.
actually saw it because I saw this figure on eBay sell for buku bucks,
Yeah.
and I can't lie, I had to just like stop myself from going down this path of like because I love Christmas, but I was like,
Yeah.
I saw one at the Exchange in Parma 2 or 3 years ago for $170, which isn't super outrageous. It usually goes for about 130 or 150,
Yeah.
and I had to just be like, no, you know, because I collect mostly anime and stuff. I was thinking like, do I really want to go down the Christmas path? And I
Yeah.
ultimately decided not to because having to track down these old figures and then like the NECA. I had a couple keychains as a kid because the world's largest Christmas store is in Frankenmuth, Michigan. I don't know if you've ever been to Bronner's.
As a young kid, but I haven't been there recently.
I've wanted to go back as an adult but I just haven't made it up there.
Yeah.
But
It's open all year round, right?
yeah, it's open all year round. So it probably would be
I passed the exit. I didn't go to the store though.
in the winter when I
Okay.
went as a kid. It was really cool because the whole town it has my level obsession of Christmas.
Yeah. Michigan very much a Christmas state with the author of the Polar Express that is from there.
Really?
Yeah. So and the Browners and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty Christmassy. Yeah, they have a lot of pine up there, in northern Michigan too.
And a lot of snow.
Yeah, they get a lot of
Shoot,
snow.
we get a lot of snow in Ohio, but even more in Michigan.
Yeah.
I know you told me that when you went to the Upper Peninsula this year, you said it even in the midsummer the water is still really cool.
Yeah,
Compared to Ohio.
it's like it's almost like it's pretty much like Canada up there, that part of the United States. But moving on to more updates, Lightning Collection is releasing more of their Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures, such as Dino Blue, the Dino Blue Ranger, the SPD Pink Ranger, the Lost Galaxy Red Ranger, and the Zeo Green Ranger. And also, our final update is Jazzware is releasing new AEW wrestling figures, such as Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Rio, Pac, Matt, and Nick Jackson. So those are the figures coming out. Jazzware is releasing of AEW wrestling figures. So now moving on to our first topic of the day, kind of collecting holiday ornaments, since it's kind of our unofficial holiday episode special. Recording this episode the week right before Christmas, so collecting ornaments is very similar to toy collecting. There's exclusives and variants and deluxe ornaments and gold ornaments and metal ornaments and people make their own ornaments, customize. It is its own collectability it's similar to toys, but some of them have functions. They speak, they light up. They're not articulated though as much as toys are, but they're very similar. You hang them on a wreath, you hang them on your Christmas tree to collect and stuff like that. The ornament market has exploded. You can now get Marvel ornaments, Star Wars ornaments. You could customize, make a Star Wars wreath. You can make a Harry Potter tree. They have Harry Potter ornaments. They have, Toy Story, Disney characters, Pixar characters. Just constantly an explosion of ornaments now that people like to have, and there's some are like Hallmark exclusives, and some are Walmart exclusives, and some you can only get, and once they're gone, and then the secondhand market when you try to buy a ornament, like a year from now that you wanted that was last year, they the demand goes up and they go, the secondhand market people overprice them. So, I personally have started collecting more ornaments because I start to, I pick and choose, but, I want to customize my own wreath or tree. I know I've been collecting more ornaments lately. How about you, Kyle? Have you been getting into the ornament game, even though you probably didn't collect ornaments before, and now you're like, I collect ornaments?
Well, yeah, I know as a kid I would get a few here and there. I have the Wiener Mobile from when I was a kid, and I didn't know this, and neither did my mom who bought it for me, but apparently it made a sound, but it's from like 2002 or 2003, so I tried to put batteries in there and it's just not the same. But
Yeah.
my mom has an obsession with the ornaments,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
you've seen from my house.
Yeah.
Her favorites are she's been collecting Frosty Friends since they came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I think she first started collecting ornaments in the 70s, so
Yeah.
she obviously has quite a lot. But for me, I mostly like a lot of my ornaments, obviously, with anything in life, they got to revolve around your hobbies. My favorite thing on earth is Ohio State football.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Ohio State, and then I got nerdy things like the Aquaman ornament was the one ornament I bought this year because I love that.
Yeah, he was
Riding a seahorse, I was
that
like,
was pretty cool.
yeah, because even when I take down my tree after Christmas, I still I love that ornament, and Mezco, if you're listening, you should make a deluxe, or anyone, someone. I've always wondered why no one has really made a deluxe figure since DC Direct with Aquaman and a seahorse. Like all it takes is a little effort.
That was creative, like that. That's different.
Yeah, and it just like his reins are just they're not like molded reins. They're like a little bit of fabric, and I love it. It's funny because for the most part, when you think of ornaments, who do you think of? You think of Hallmark.
Yes,
And a
the
Hallmark,
leading ornament. They have the most licenses. The company has their own stores. They
they're
license their product out to other stores.
they're ingenious with how they do it. And I'm curious. I know they partner with some candle company too out of Ohio, which is super cool. I don't think Hallmark is based out of Ohio though.
I don't believe so,
But
but they're pretty crafty around the holidays because they release not only a crap ton of ornaments, but they also release their Christmas specials, and then but not only do they release, their but Hallmark they not only release ornaments, but they have their Christmas specials, and in those specials they purposely show what they sell in the stores in those specials.
really,
It's kind of like a hidden advertising, like, oh, look at the tree, and then they have all the like certain ornaments that they sell in
and
the
then
store and
they
stuff.
also have a Sirius channel which plays nothing but Christmas music, which is smart because
Yeah,
Hallmark is most known for their ornaments. But
yeah,
I know the crazy thing to me is the fact that one of the funniest partnerships, which makes sense, is the fact that they partnered with Lego.
yes. That's another thing they do. Legos now, Lego ornaments and stuff like that.
And the Frosty Friends that my mom has, those are those are Hallmark's own creations that they've been having since the 80s. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can just thinking of like some of the ones me or my mom has, I just think of like The Wizard of Oz, Nightmare Before Christmas, and then you think of like Batman, Aquaman, and you're just like, wow, they go from so many different places, and then a lot of times when they do an ornament, that's it.
Yeah.
They do it for 1 year, and then
Yep.
because I bought my that's why I bought my Aquaman ornament this year. I bought it in like July
Yeah.
because I was so terrified because now I guarantee a lot of them are sold out.
I bought my Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban that looks like the Azkaban front cover book, but the characters are 3D. I bought that one in October, and because I missed out on the first one. I have the second one and I have the third one. I still want the first one, but I can't find the first one. No, I can't find a first one or under $200.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, scalpers.
yeah, because it's a 2018 ornament. It's more of it's a harder thing to find now because it's been 2 years. Now in a
Yes.
year, those prices jump. People they go from $20, then in a year they go from 50, then in like 2 years to 100 to $200. That's how like rare some of these ornaments are. And I did go to a Hallmark recently, and I got a 2018 Darth Vader helmet. It's an ornament. And it talks and has Darth Vader has like 5 or 6 phrases. It was a 2018 one because it was overstock. So they tried. So I got it. So I only had to pay $5 for it. So it was like 70% off. So I got a Darth Vader helmet, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to my ornaments. Like I don't want them to look like figures, like just hanging off the tree. But I like Darth Vader helmet, Baby Yoda and his like little floatable crib thing. I got one where it's just Wonder Woman's armor, not Wonder Woman. I want to get one that has like Iron Man helmet. So something like helmets and something creative. Like I got the golden snitch this year. That was a Walmart exclusive, which was gold.
I bought I can't think of his name, but the guy who did the Hungry Hungry Caterpillar. Do you remember that on my tree?
Yeah, I did see that.
It was it spoke to me, but
Yeah,
it is incredibly the largest business in terms of revenue in the entire world, more than oil, more than car companies, more than technology, is Walmart.
yeah,
So by Hallmark, because I'm sure there's some people who may not have heard of them,
yeah,
but by Hallmark being like, okay, we're going to keep our stores tiny and we're going to keep them focused on greeting cards, mostly greeting cards, candles, and ornaments.
yeah.
But then by partnering with Walmart to have Walmart exclusives,
Yeah.
ingenious from a business perspective because there are some really cool
It's
Walmart ones.
crazy how many they made. Like I know the Baby Yoda one in his crib. I didn't see that one this year. I think that was a Kohl's exclusive. And then like
Really?
Kohl's has their own exclusives. Walmart has their own exclusives. I don't. I probably Target has some, but like it's Kohl's and Walmart and Walgreens. There's Walgreens exclusives too. And like another one I on the lookout for is like just the Captain America shield. That's another one I'm on the lookout for. I mean, I didn't collect ornaments before until like now, but and then there was another one like another Walmart exclusive I got this year, which was a stack of the Harry Potter books and it has a wand. I didn't find that one anywhere. I got that one in October. I was kind of early on the game there. I mean, certain ones I missed, like the Baby Yoda one. I did get the Golden Snitch, and they have like these golden premium ones. So what I got was like I got a Golden Snitch Walmart exclusive, which was like metallic. It was metal, but it looked gold. And I also got the metallic Wonder Woman armor, which was really cool. So I had to pick those up because they just look really awesome. So yeah, I mean, I like the functions. I got the Slinky dog. It looks really cool. I got to show you. Just the ones that look cool, ones that speak to you. I'm like, oh, that's really cool, and that'd be look cool in the tree and stuff like that. I'm starting to get that bit by the ornament bug, and I like the functions and the light up functions, and I'm very picky about that. Are you kind of picky about your ornaments too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be a vibe.
Yeah, certain ones speak to you more than other ones, and I got a tiny Ant Man. That was another one I got. It was like a really tiny Ant Man. I got to show you that one. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, the ornaments, huge collectability, multiple licenses. They have Star Wars ships now and Lego characters, Toy Story characters, Disney characters. I went to a Disney store. You should have saw the ornaments they have at the Disney store. I might have to hit that place up after the holidays because their ornaments were really expensive.
Real.
They were like 30, like 25 to $30 an ornament, and they had like the Infinity Gauntlet. Another one like cool ornament. Oh, they had like these really cool ones. I gotta show you. Like they had like Lilo and Stitch on a surfboard. They had like the toys from Toy Story looking out like Andy's window, and it was like You can see.
Oh
I should have took a
no!
picture. I felt
Oh,
stupid not to take a picture of it. But they had like Woody Buzz. They're like tiny, but they're like Woody Buzz and Bo Peep and stuff like that. If you go on the Disney Store website, you might be able to find them, or just like Google them and stuff. But they, Disney Store had some pretty kick-ass ornaments, and I might have to run out there and see if there's any sales and try to get those ornaments because they looked really cool. There was like two of them I wanted. That was one of them. Lilo and Stitch one was cool, and
this must be it.
let me see. Yes, that's it.
That's really cool.
I wanted to buy that, but that was like $30 to $50. I don't know how much it says on your phone, but
Let's see. On Amazon, it says 30. It says $29.95.
yeah, that one was cool. I wanted that one. There was another one too, but I can't remember what it was. There's the Infinity Gauntlet. That was the only ones too I remember, but they had a lot of cool ones, and a lot of stores carry them, and definitely thing to collect during the holidays. Everyone gets excited about, whether you're a Star Wars fan, Harry Potter, Marvel, DC, whatever it is. People like to customize, enhance their decorations. So, going on to our next topic. Our next topic of the evening will be comic books. We kind of touched on this, so we won't have to spend too much time on this. Comic books. Are you reading any interesting comic books right now?
I'm about to start the Dark Knight's Metal.
Okay,
I
read that one.
What's your favorite graphic novel or comic book story of all time? I'm curious.
Just by itself.
By itself. I think you know mine. Can you guess mine?
Well, Hush.
Hush.
Batman Hush.
Yeah.
So, which was good.
Jim Lee and Jeff Lowe. Which is why I'm so mad about how I don't want to spoil the animated movie for anyone, but it wasn't quite the same because even though Hush is like 15 years old, without spoiling it, when you were reading Hush, you probably had suspicions of who Hush was, and then at the end when they reveal who Hush is, you're just like, you're like, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I thought it was Harvey Dent. It was like, I thought it was either Harvey Dent. Well, I went from thinking it was that Robin. It was
Jason Todd.
I thought it was him, and then I thought it was Harvey Dent, and then it turns out you think it's somebody else entirely, to a degree. But
because see, I had suspicion, but then there was.
It was literally like went from one person to another person to another person. Then this is the person that planned it. It was a good one, yeah. They had a really good art. I love the art.
That and then even the Dark Knight Returns with Frank Miller was awesome too, and there's so many I want to read. I'm really excited for Dark Knight's Metal. You said you liked it.
I liked it. I kind of like the sequel a little bit more right now.
Really?
Just right now. I've only read like 3 or 4 issues in, so I do like it right now more. But Metal was good. I didn't like fall head over here. It's weird because when like people are like, oh, you gotta read this amazing story, I end up like saying like, it could have ended better. Like I felt that way about Secret Wars, Crisis on Infinite Earths was really good. That was one of my favorites, and Infinity War. Okay, to answer your question, those two are one of my top 2 favorites. Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, and Crisis on Infinite Earths, both very good. But like if you want to get a more modern Endgame with not Marvel but Batman Endgame with the Joker, that was really good. Like it's bloody and stuff.
One of my favorite Marvel issues, which I definitely recommend, was I someday I will own this issue because it's not as like stupidly priced as like a lot of issues, but I mean obviously it's still very popular. I remember the first time I read Giant Size X-Men, and it's basically an introduction to like some of my favorite characters like Colossus and Nightcrawler, but that's really a fun issue. And then I remember I spoke to a comic guy at a convention, and some of the rarest issues for DC are the first Sandman issues from like the 40s.
Yeah.
And I remember he said, "Oh, I wish I would have kept it because those are worth a ton." I said, "Oh, how'd you like the story?" He's like, "Oh, the story's really boring." But when I read the story, maybe it's because I love pulp heroes a lot,
Right.
and his aesthetic was like gas mask with a gun. I love that version of the Sandman. That I loved those issues. I don't know what I did with my hardcover issue of that, but obviously, if I ever want to buy it again, I'm sure I can get it cheap on eBay.
Right.
That Sandman thing was so much fun. Like I
That's
definitely
cool.
recommend. It's not like it's like the most amazingly written thing in the world. Like it's not as well written as say Hush, but for the time in like the early 40s and whatnot, I think it was just fun because it shows like a lot of. That's why I love a lot of those early Batman issues too, because it's like you're like, what? Batman's beating people and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, thank you, Bill Finger and Bob Kane. Which also, side note, on Hulu, I definitely recommend Batman and Bill. It's a Hulu exclusive, and it talks about basically how in some ways the comic industry can be kind of scummy, and it basically shows how mistreated Bill Finger was.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
Bill Finger is the best comic book creator, which unless you're really into comics, most people have not heard of him. Most people have heard of Bob Kane.
Yeah.
I actually have I have a drawing from Bob Kane, and if I would have had a drawing from Bill Finger, even though he died in like the 70s, that would I to find any of his original artwork is probably impossible now.
Right.
But yeah.
Another good story I read was Spider-Verse, but not the Spider-Verse everyone knows, like the movie. Spider-Verse is the comic storyline is like Spider-Gwen and Spider-Ham. I was gonna say Spider-Pork. Spider-Ham.
Well, he is Peter Porker.
Yeah, and all these vampire-like guys, and one of their leader named Morlun goes after this people from different universes and feeds on the spider people with spider powers, and he hunts them down and eats them. And different universe spider men, join forces and try to fight these guys, and that was a really good storyline.
Speaking of that, I remember with the '90s animated Spider-Man when Madam Web works together with the Beyonder and stuff.
Yeah.
Which Hasbro, if you're listening, I still really want a Madam Web figure.
Yeah, the Beyonder is responsible in Secret Wars for putting all the characters on there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they got it from, right? That idea for the animated.
Yeah.
Oh,
the comic book, I wasn't impressed. I didn't really like the comic book.
You didn't realize? Yeah, you didn't realize Secret Wars.
Because I remember a subpar ending.
I remember,
it was like those issues, they go so long, and you're starting to lose interest, and then when it ends, you're like, well, that wasn't the ending I had built up in my head.
This is fascinating to me. I didn't know this until I was watching one of Shartimus Prime's video, but Hasbro with their throwback 3 3/4 inch figures, the reason it doesn't say the reason it's not in the card back style of say Secret Wars was because apparently Mattel in the 80s produced the Secret Wars line.
Right.
And that Secret Wars line has a couple figures where I've thought about getting a couple mint on card. The most sought after one I think the most sought after ones from the Secret Wars line are Electro.
Yeah.
Because he was like a Europe exclusive or something. Hobgoblin is really sought after. Spider-Man, and then I think like maybe Wolverine.
Yeah.
But some of the figures look cool for what they were. I know Gentle Giant, before they were bought by Diamond. They produced those really big versions of the Secret Wars figures from the 80s, and they look cool.
Yeah.
But I know for me, like, I don't think anything will ever beat Hush. I read Hush in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I was that obsessed with it, and I'm sure a lot of it just has to deal with the fact that I'm obsessed with Batman.
I'm reading Three Jokers right now, and I heard it was disappointing, but I haven't finished it, so I'll have to see what how it comes into play. And I'm reading the Batman run of the animated limited run series, which is pretty good right now, too.
I need to finish that too. I
like that they brought that back in a miniseries.
And the fact that Paul Dini is doing it is super cool. I can't think of the name. What was the Black Label Batman from this past year?
Three Jokers.
Oh, it was.
It's Three Jokers this year. Last year was Batman Damn. I read that one. That was good.
But it could have been better.
The ending of all these things just kind of just like, it's just like, okay, like I thought, it comes to a mystery and you're like, oh, that's how it ends. That's the answer. And you're just like, all right.
I really want to read. Have you heard of Manifest Destiny from Image?
No, I honestly wish I read more from other companies, but I just don't. I'm not recommended anything. I don't know what is. I mean, I'd like to read The Boys eventually because that's from Dynamite. The show is really good.
Dynamite, they own the rights to a lot of those really cool pulp heroes, and like one of Dynamite's biggest, from my perspective, calls to fame is that they own the rights to Green Hornet.
Oh, okay.
And I love the Green Hornet, but like that's why a lot of I remember one of my former bosses brought in one of his graphic novels, which was really cool, and he showed me that a lot of the pulp heroes from the 30s and 40s, and for the right price, I've thought about buying some of these early Green Hornet issues, but because it's Green Hornet, people overprice them.
Right.
Speaking of Green Hornet, I still keep holding out hope that we'll get some Green Hornet toys. I remember at one point there was a company called Shocker Toys, which they released indie comic character figures, and I got a Dick Tracy from this guy, but they did like Dick Tracy, they did the Tick, a lot of interesting characters, and he wanted to expand it. It was not to be. He just could not create a deal with some factory or whatnot, and I remember being so disappointed because I know
Right.
if a company does it, people will buy it. Like Mezco did Diabolic, and I don't know much about Diabolic, but I know Green Hornet. If they did that, it would work because I've statues from Green Hornet. But I guess Dynamite. This was just one person's claim, so it could be completely fictitious. And this was from like 5 years ago. But the one guy where I said, "Hey, if you ever create a Green Hornet and Kato figures,
Yeah.
I would be a buyer." And he's like, "I would love to do that, but Dynamite art is notoriously hard to work with." But I guess you never know. Sky's the limit. But
What do you find to be the biggest problem in comics right now that you wish could see change, or it's not really, it doesn't excite you? Is it like something, maybe it could be artist, storyline,
pandering,
political pandering?
social justice pandering. Like I always have found it lazy writing when comic book characters, and I don't find it creative at all, will just take a character and just change whether it's their orientation or
Mm-hmm.
whether it's their gender or whatever,
The race.
their race, and it's like just create a new character because I fully, you and I,
Yeah, we're
yeah,
progressive.
yeah,
Yeah, but
we're
I don't.
we're not we. I know you and I don't identify as the social justice progressives, but obviously we support gay rights.
Mm-hmm.
We support obviously rights of all races. Because
Right.
we're all children in the eyes of God. But I just think it's lazy writing. Like for example, when they said when Star Lord just all of a sudden is
Right.
is bisexual, and they only did that to pander to the LGBT crowd because Star Lord has been around since like the 70s,
Uh huh.
and there's never once been a need to bring up his sexual orientation
But why? Why
because
should?
being bisexual will not help him defeat Thanos. It's not like he's like, "Oh, I'm bisexual because I'm standing up for the rights of the oppressed bisexual community or whatever." It's just like they're just like, "Oh, Marvel knows if they slap something like he's bisexual or like a couple years ago where they made an alternative universe Green Lantern gay, they
Yeah.
know if they do that, people are going to be like, wow, Marvel and DC are so progressive that instead of just seeing that they're just the reason that they slapped the label of bisexual on Star Lord or they slapped the label of gay on Green Lantern is simply because they wanted to take a popular existing character
Yeah.
and they knew it would help them sell comics to pander.
I don't
Whereas,
think it does that.
well, but a lot,
It's
a
not like
lot,
it's not like homosexuals are flocking to the comic book shops, but
right?
I
And
think it's like clickbait, and yeah, it's just
yeah,
it's
it's to get
a headline.
yeah, to get people to write about them because it's like in a lot of ways too, and I think people have all people can see that it's lazy writing
It
because
is lazy writing, yeah.
it would take so much extra effort to one of the coolest things was when Todd McFarlane was one of the founders of Image,
Yeah.
he made Spawn black,
And that was original character.
which is awesome. And
Yeah.
it gave the black community representation in a character of Spawn. He didn't take
But it wasn't
it
forced
yeah,
either.
when he worked because he worked at
It
Marvel
was natural.
before they invented Image, he worked at Marvel and he never once was like, you know what, I'm Peter Parker is going to just get a sex change, or Peter Parker is
Well,
going to just call
I
him.
mean,
Peter Parker is just going to call him, get a skin change like Michael Jackson did, and
well, yeah, I mean, just
he didn't force that. But with Spawn, he was just like, hey, Spawn's black, and I did that to show just some of the struggles that black Americans face. Everyone was like, cool. He just made him black, and it's part of his story and whatnot. And but
yeah, like
and it was creative because it was original.
like Blade, that's another one, and it's just like that's why I'm not excited about the Miles Morales character. I mean, he was good in the movie, but they have the new video game coming out. I'm like, I'm not interested because he doesn't have his own original powers. He's kind of pretty much a tokenized version of Peter Parker. and he doesn't have his own villains. There's just nothing really
'Cause a
original.
lot
There's
of
nothing original about the character that
because a
I
lot
can really
I've heard this from so many
gravitate to.
I've heard this from so many people too out there where it's like because I always tell people I say like I remember a couple years ago people were upset with because they were like even though Michael B. Jordan's a great actor I
Yeah.
loved him as Killmonger and I loved him in a lot of other movies too but like because people are like oh I don't know why certain social justice warriors were like oh why is why are people so upset that Johnny Storm is being played by a black guy? And it's like Johnny Storm is a white dude, and I was like, can you imagine the uproar if people were like, you know what, the next Black Panther is going to be Hayden Christensen? People would be like, that's stupid. Black Panther
Right.
is the king of Wakanda.
I don't.
He should always be a black man.
Or like I had a problem like let's make Thor a girl. It's like why? Like that doesn't get women to be interested in comic books. Like just make it like Wonder Woman was original for the time.
And Wonder Woman is awesome.
And it's because it's original and everything about Wonder Woman is like it's original where like has original power, she has her original identity,
and it's empowering to women, and she's
has her own villains. Like that's what sells comic books.
Right, and she's creative. It's just not. I think so much of modern comics
is lazy writing,
and it just sucks too because it's just like people want new characters. Like I never read the comic line, but you told me Mr. Bloom from that New 52 Batman was actually a cool character.
Yeah.
And people love the Court of Owls, even when you said they just dragged it out a little too much, but you loved it.
When you flesh it out and you have these like totally original characters and ideas, like you just said, Mr. Bloom and Court of Owls, and those are new Batman villains for that time when they were doing that run of Batman, and like okay, that's what you got to do. I think DC does it a little bit better than Marvel because DC has the artists, DC has the storytellers, and they seem to try some new things here or there occasionally with their characters. But
plus, like obviously, two of the biggest names that are just doing it really well now is bringing on Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder.
Yeah,
was ingenious. I can't think of the name of I personally can't think of anyone from Marvel Comics right now, modern day, really that are just wow, they're just doing really good things. But I do know you told me. I can't think of his name, but you said he's from Cleveland. Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only name I can think of from Marvel right now.
He's not on Marvel anymore.
He's not on Marvel anymore?
No, he's on Superman. He's actually finishing his run on Superman for DC.
So once again, DC is just killing it.
They're losing writers because they did this thing where they're like, let's make a #1 issue every other year, and people got sick of it. Like, and then like it's just the little things like Marvel Comics, their paper you could feel it is cheaper. They have more ads. The art isn't there for Marvel. They did a thing. DC did do something stupid. I'll bring up in a minute. But like, I'm just ranting on Marvel. It's just like the art is just very cartoony. There's no quality to it. Like when you buy a DC book compared to a Marvel book, you feel like you're getting more for your money. The DC book is, it's obviously you feel like you're getting your money's worth. I feel like they do more diverse things. Like here's the 3 Jokers. You tell me if that's like.
Just good quality.
You could
and even right here, it's like it has that embossed prints.
Yeah,
and it looks really cool.
You can flip through it if you want to.
And you can see just like really good artwork, and it's like honestly like, and even some of the funny things was I remember one of the
I'll pay $5 and it's 3 Jokers. People, I mean, I don't know. I haven't finished this. So I don't know if it's good,
remember one of my favorite comics from a couple years ago. It was such a simple read, and it was. Oh, that's cool.
$6.99 comic book. I'll pay $6.99 for glossed cover, raised letters, awesome art, and pretty cool-looking storyline.
Remember a couple years ago, even though obviously like it was intended for both, obviously all ages, but even simple stories like Scooby-Doo Team Up, because DC owns the rights to Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera, even those things are really fun, even though it wasn't really a deep comic like Batman, like Batman Hush, but like even those things are just fun, and I just feel like a lot of times Marvel just they shoot themselves in their own foot because I remember do you remember the Iron Man comic from 2 years ago that I was loving?
Yeah, and then they did Iron Man.
Yeah, they introduced Iron Man immediately fighting Madame Mask, and I was like, what? No Mandarin? I was like, they're doing that, and then they're like, oh, Doctor Doom. They had an interesting idea of what if Doctor Doom doesn't have his helmet right now?
Yeah.
And then they just were like, oh, screw it, we're gonna cancel it.
Or invent like some new villains for Iron Man because his rogues gallery is kind of But like,
Yeah, compared to Spider-Man, it's just not
well,
even
yeah, just like
comparable.
try
You
something different.
you
And
it's pretty much just like, oh, the Mandarin's cool, and then it's like, oh, the Mandarin controls Crimson Dynamo
yeah,
and Whirlwind, and you're just like,
yeah,
okay.
and then DC, I think quality wise they're better, but like, Marvel does their whole agenda thing. I just don't think that sells books. I mean, I'm not saying all their titles. I mean, some of their titles are successful, but a lot of them they've been doing like reprints and stuff. But the DC did something where like, oh, Firestar has a kid and it's a teenage girl and the art is ugly and it's this fat gothic teenager who's like bisexual and it's like, who would want to read that? That's not interesting. Like that's
Right.
just a regular person. She
Like
has no powers. It's like she's a bad attitude and a jerk or an asshole or whatever. It's
and
like
it's like it should
what?
it should mean something like for example in the 90s. I remember during the History Channel documentary in the 90s when they were talking about in some of these African nations or like Eastern European nations, they were talking about like, hey, we want DC to write a story about not walking near IEDs that are unexploded from wars from like the Bosnian War and stuff like that.
Right.
Then so they partnered successfully, and it had a purpose as to like comics with a purpose like that are always good. Like if you have an agenda like that where it's for the safety of nations, and I guess the Batman comic was amazing, or like where Stan Lee wrote the story about where Harry Osborn was so high that he fell off a building.
Yeah.
Or like I still want the issue of Speedy where Speedy takes drugs, and it's like if you
Right.
write a story with a purpose,
Yeah.
like make it have a purpose, or like
But
if you're writing an LGBT story, write like something like, oh, I stand up for LGBT rights because Iran doesn't have any, and I want gay people
well,
to have rights in
just
Iran or something like that. Like make it have a purpose. Don't just do it for the sake of pandering.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a way to tell a story originally and organically and not dividing your audience. Arrow did a good job of that in their show where they were talking about gun control. And he said, well, it's not an easy, these decisions aren't easy. We should think through them and stuff. I can't remember exactly. It was a while ago. But I remember them that they handled it well. But I think, yeah, I know comic books can be political sometimes. They've been political when Captain America was punching Hitler on the first issue. People didn't know because that was before the war. They didn't know how to react to that. Obviously, it changed over time. But like yeah, there's been risk and obviously that turned out for the better. And obviously, punching Hitler was the right move. And like obviously, this was before America got in a war. And you don't know what will happen. And things are on pins and needles. But there's a way to approach a topic neutrally. Don't divide your audience. Have good storytelling. Invent some original villains, some original heroes. Don't pander. Don't force it. Get up with the quality. It's like give the people quality storytelling. I mean, I'm not just saying just make better Wonder Woman, Superman, and Flash comics, but like The Boys. I will honestly say The Boys is something new and different and hip, but like it's realistic and it's original, and you're like, that is a superhero comic book or story or show that is fresh and new and original and really takes it in a different direction as opposed to like the 1-2 punch of the bad guys. Closing out our topic, I mean, I do think comic books, I think it's getting harder to sell them. Diamond and DC are no longer distributing off the same channel anymore, and it's harder for comic shop owners. And I like to read comic books of original storytelling. I still get them. I'm reading Flash, Batman animated, Three Jokers, Dark Knight's Metal, Death Metal, and stuff like that. And I read the old Marvel stuff. I like the old Marvel stuff, but I think the older writers approached it really good, such as like Stan Lee. I can't remember his name. The guy that did the Green Arrow with the drugs. Speedy.
What's that?
Neil Adams.
Neil Adams.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Green
met
Lantern.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil Adams
I
did a
want
good
that book.
job.
I want that book so badly.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a way to do it right. There's a way to do it wrong. You get tired of it sometimes, the politics. But closing out our episode, we're gonna name the top 10 figures. I hope you enjoyed the comic books portion of that. Wraps up our topic there. I think just get good storytellers and writers, and I think once you do that, I like to see some darker stuff from Marvel. Like like DC does the Black Label. I like how they're doing like rated R comic books, kind of stuff like that, where they show gore and blood and cursing and stuff like that. And then you have, I wish Marvel did stuff like that, I wish they would release a Dark Avengers, like Dark Avenger, but like a
Yeah,
darker Avengers storyline where characters actually died. And I'm not saying that has to be incorporated into the regular mainstream universe, but just make it like a one adult theme storyline where maybe like one mission a year a character dies of importance and stuff, and then you could fill that character in with other minor characters and stuff like that. But like like there's death and blood and stuff like that. I'd like to see that out of Marvel. I feel like the closest they ever did was when they did Civil War. They got political, but they also like it was gory and it was intense. It was Civil War was an intense story that they made. But well, we're gonna go and list our top 10 toys of 2020. Most of these are figures because we're mostly talking about figures. That's mostly what we collect. Did you want to read your list first and then
well,
me read mine? Or
we could just start at 10 and we could bounce it back and forth.
okay, top 10 figures and toys of 2020.
My number 10, and then I'll just tell you a little bit about why I like it. My number 10 is the Black Series Probe Droid
Okay.
by Hasbro from their Star Wars line. I've never seen it in person, but you are my best friend, and you picked me up one, and I paid you back for it.
Yeah.
And even though it's not, some people might complain because it's not in scale because it's not tiny like the one from the 90s was. I love it because it's massive and that allows for more detail, more articulation, and the snow base from Hoth, I just think it's perfect.
Yeah, they did that figure well. I like that one too. I mean, that's not my number 10, but it's on my list. But I'll just tell you why I like it. It's realistic. It's big. It's really detailed. It's so weird looking. It's like a weird looking robot. So that's cool. Weird looking robot that looks cool and a Star Wars character. My number 10 is the Marvel Legends Falcon I just picked up. I just showed you. Just because it's about time they made one and a classic version of Falcon, and they did a good job.
My number 9 is Sentinel Ryu of the Wildfire from Ronin Warriors. I love this figure. It's the fact that they got a Ronin Warriors license is great, or in Japan it's known as Japanese Samurai Troopers. The only thing that's keeping it from being higher because it comes with so many accessories, it's similar to the Armor Plus line from Bandai a couple years back, and it's $144.99 for a 6-inch figure, and that is too damn much money. But it's still sweet, so that's my number 9.
My number 9 is the Logan Marvel Legends with the leather coat. I just thought they did that one very well. And yeah, I like how they're getting into the Marvel Fox, possible Sony movie, Marvel Legends. There's a lot to be explored there. And that was one of the ones I had to get.
My number 8 is the SH Figuarts Jiren from Dragon Ball Super. So many accessories, big bulky figure. The aesthetics are just amazing. Can't say enough about how much I love it.
My number 8 is the Black Series Count Dooku. Just the face sculpt on that figure is a win. It's the most realistic one, I think, of recent memory from Star Wars Black Series. They did a good job on that face sculpt of Christopher Lee. Comes with a cloth cape. Looking for it for a while. I've been keeping it pretty simple between Marvel Legends and Black Series.
My number 7 is a figure I was so excited about. It's the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Crimson Dynamo. That is going to scale so well with... I can't think of the name of the villain. What's the villain that Diamond is Marvel's Lex going to release?
Titanium Man.
Yeah, Titanium Man. It's going to scale so well with that. It's massive, and I braved a pandemic early on just to go get it because I wanted it so badly, and I bought all the figures at 2 different stores before anyone else got their hands on them, and I mostly bought them for the Build-A-Figure, and I love the Build-A-Figure.
There's a rumor that there's going to be another Iron Man wave. A couple Iron Man armors are going to be in it. The possible Build-A-Figure could be Crimson Dynamo, but a more classic version.
That'd be cool too. I'd be down with that, and also finally give us a Mandarin.
Yeah. That wasn't rumored to be in the way. I know. I was right there with you. My number 7 is Deluxe Mando with the Baby Yoda. I don't have that figure. I do want it. I think it comes with a lot, guns and Baby Yoda and the rifle, and I think his helmet comes off as well. It's a figure I'm looking for. It's one of those ones I really want this year for 2020.
All right, so now we're up to number 7. My number 7 is a figure I got relatively recently, the SH Figure Arts Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I'm really excited they showcased the one with her golden wings. I really need them to release a cheetah so it's in scale. But Todd McFarlane, if you're listening, not to sound like a hater, but these figures are 5.9 inches, so technically 6 inches, and it scales really well with other figures I've bought in the past for DC, and I really love the figure. It's perfectly articulated. They make female figures really well where she can stand on her heels,
Yeah.
and I mean because of the heels with the McFarlane one, it's just too big. It's too big of a figure.
How's the lasso? Is it bendable?
Unfortunately, that's why it's not higher on the list. Is the
Yeah.
lasso is not articulated.
Wow. Okay.
But it looks really cool, even not being articulated. I still love the figure. I definitely recommend
But
it.
does it have like the hoop and like her look?
Yeah, it has a small hoop and then it has a big hoop, so
Oh, okay.
it still can look like she's kind of spinning a little bit,
Yeah.
but yeah.
My number 6 is the Black Series Probe Droid. I touched upon that earlier. Hasbro doing a little bit of these more deluxe figures gets me more excited. It was also nicely available by Hasbro.
Wait, that should have been. What about your 7?
I said deluxe Mando.
Oh, it was okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, good. All right, so that was your 6.
Yeah, the Probe Droid was.
Yeah, you and I both agree on that. That thing is
Yeah.
so cool. My number 6 is the Gundam Universe XXG-00W0 Wing Gundam from Endless Waltz with the Angel Wings. So massive, lots of accessories, really cool figure. For only $20, I like it a lot from Bandai.
Cool. My number 5 is the deluxe movie Black Widow in the white suit. I didn't see the movie yet, obviously for obvious reasons, but it was a game changer for Marvel Legends. It came with a stand and blast effects. You got more guns and weapons
And the stand is universal. You see, I've used it for a Green Goblin figure.
Yeah, that raised my eyebrows early this year.
Because it reminded me of like some of the reason I was so excited about too is I didn't really care about the Black Widow figure, but the stand is awesome. Is because you've seen some of the effects from that Bandai Spirits has released.
Yeah.
And when I saw Hasbro doing that, I was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah. The deluxe movie Black Widow, I really enjoyed. I haven't opened it yet, but I've seen yours. I see what it comes with. It's a game changer for Marvel Legends to like broaden that. You could take that next step which they could take.
Now we're up to number 5. My amazing girlfriend for my birthday got me the Mezco Deluxe John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the face sculpts aren't perfect in relation to how they look for Keanu Reeves, I love the figure and I love the accessories it comes with, and the accessories can be used for other figures, and it's just, it comes with his dog. I wish his dog wasn't just a solid mold. I wish it had a little articulation, but it's an amazing figure.
Did you get that for like a holiday, birthday? Or?
My birthday.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that is special. Because someone knows you very well. My number 4 is the Marvel Legends Kingpin on the giant card from the animated series. Really cool figure. Just big, bulky, classic looking. It hurt the scalpers who sold the other one. You could just get the figure, you don't have to collect any pieces. This classic looking, and you can't go wrong. It's Kingpin.
All right, my friend. Time to our 3 favorite figures of the year. This next figure I bought in Florida, and I got you one as well, and I think it was nearly flawless. Just what I talked about earlier about the blast effects on the bottom of the feet. Still Hasbro should have make those a little bit more of a solid mold.
Yeah.
But I love the Marvel Legends Deluxe War Machine. That figure it destroys every import War Machine, Toy Biz's War Machine.
That's your 3?
That's my 3. That figure was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The only thing that could have made it perfect is if I love the unmasked version,
Mm-hmm.
but if they would have had a version where his helmet is up, that would have made it even more perfect. But Hasbro absolutely did an amazing job on that figure.
Another deluxe figure,
Yeah.
Probe Droid, the movie Black Widow, and now War Machine. It's just they're really doing good things with that stuff, giving you more, and just for just giving you these awesome effects and accessories. So totally worth it. Collector friendly, really helps the collector. My number 3 I changed gears here. I put down my Lego Hedwig set.
It's cool though.
Yeah, it flaps its wings. I had to give Lego a little, put Lego on the list because that was one of those sets that just kind of meant to me for like Harry Potter Lego collector. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm like, that is cool. You're branching out a little bit. You're doing different things. I'm excited. They're also going to be making like for 2021. I'm looking forward to you know, these more affordable like Lego Tie Fighter and Lego X-wing. Much better price point, around $20 to $30. I'll probably have to get those from the original trilogy, and I'm looking forward to that. But the Lego Hedwig flaps its wings, looks like a real owl, articulated, and just really nice display. Just like seeing something different from Lego.
All right, my friend. My number two is Mezco Doc Nocturnal.
Okay.
It's a completely made up character that Mezco made, but the aesthetic is perfect. It looks just like a pulp hero from like the 30s or 40s.
All right.
It has skulls, it has gas mask, it has I can't think that it has like a gas machine type thing to it. It's just it's really cool. Even though it's not a comic character and they just made it up to sell figures, I think it's so cool.
It is creative. I will give you that. It's nice to see a toy company do its own thing,
Right.
and with no source material. It's kind of like this is his story, and this is the villain, this is the hero, and we're a toy company telling our own story and with our own mascots and brand.
Right.
That's cool. That's a exercise of marketing I could appreciate, which might carry on to other companies. My number two is Marvel Legends animated Spider-Man. I do not have that figure yet. Actively looking, but I think it was about time to get a more classic, awesome animated version of Spider-Man. It's been a long time coming. Last time I think was the most optimal figure for Spider-Man was the pizza eating Spider-Man way back in, I think, the early 2010s. I think it was. It's been about time we get an update. Spider-Man animated series. I'm actively looking for him and definitely want that one.
And my number one is the SH Figuarts Ultra Instinct Goku from Dragon Ball Super. Just perfect. Contains an energy blast. Lots of really good sculpting. Great accessories. Love it.
All right. And my number one is the War Machine you just mentioned from Marvel
Such a
Legends.
such a great
I
figure.
had to give it to him because that really just stands out, and it's such a commanding, awesome, exclusive figure. Just effects, interchangeable hand, just the way the figure was made on the armor, totally different. Blast effects, shooting effects, just totally reminiscent of the animated series. Explosive and just kind of like a wow figure. I got to give it to Hasbro. I mean, that's all I collect. I collect Lego and Hasbro Black Series mostly, but you know, totally bought into those figures and looking forward for more to come. So, quick, what are you looking forward to 2021? I mean, like figure wise, toy
A
wise.
lot of the Mafex Hush figures,
Okay.
those just look absolutely cool. My Sentinel Sage from Ronin Warriors figure, Mafex Dark Knight Returns, their Joker figure
Mm-hmm.
of him in the white suit looks really cool. From Good Smile Company, they're going to release Ant-Man. I think I showed you the Ant-Man Deluxe. It was supposed to come out this year, but I haven't seen it come out this year. Lots of cool Gundam figures. Dragon Ball has Raditz coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and Raccoon, Birder, Guldu. Lots of cool figures. What about you, my friend?
A little bit more, little bit different. The Hasbro, I want the Mandalorian helmet. I want the Captain America Winter Soldier Falcon Captain America shield. I think I'll get that. I am going to be moving into a new place, so I'll have more space. Obviously, some new shelves for my figures. I'll be kidding. New Lego sets, the ones that are out now for Harry Potter. I did mention the TIE Fighter and X-Wing from Lego. I will probably be getting those. I'll hang them up with my fishing line and hang them up from the ceiling. I'll go well with my new place. Just those Legos. New figures. Let's see what they release from the Iron Man line. It's rumored to come out. I just got the Falcon. I'll see if I can get Kang either this year or next year. I still need him. I'm all pretty much caught up on Marvel Legends. Looking forward to J. Jonah Jameson coming out. He'll probably come out like later this year. Oh, the Thanos, the brother of Thanos 5-pack or whatever. The Marvel Legends. It's getting late. His Legion of Bad Guys from Infinity War, where the characters are now done right. Interesting to see what. Oh, the Stiltman Build-A-Figure wave. Really looking forward to that.
Stiltman looks really nice.
Yeah. Okay, folks, this is our last episode of 2020. Thank you for sticking with us for such a hard, difficult, irregular year. It's been rough on us all.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy whatever you celebrate.
It's happy holidays, Happy New Year. We definitely could use it. Just hopefully you're keeping busy, keeping distracted with collecting, and that's why we do this podcast. Honestly, folks, we do it for you. Honestly, we have 11 subscribers. We get 20 to 30 some views. We just do it for fun, and your support really comes a long way. We've really grown the past year thanks to you. We do it for you. We don't ask for any ads. We don't ask for any money or Patreon or anything like that. We're trying to add more content. The shorts, the documentaries, we'll have one-on-ones and more segments. Join us for our next episode in maybe late January to early February to be released. It's episode 19. We're almost to 20, folks. Almost to 20. Hard to believe. Just want to thank Kyle Walters, my co-host, just for sticking with me and doing it for the past 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years now. Episode 19 is our next episode. Topic will be Star Wars. The state of Star Wars it is in today in the hands of Disney. What do we want to see in the future of Star Wars? Star Wars toys, the franchise, where it's been, where it's going, where it's at. We'll be discussing everything Star Wars, from toys to characters. We just want to that topic is so broad. We have to, we want to donate a whole episode to that. So that's going to be one topic, and also trading cards. Trading cards is going to be. Kyle knows a lot about trading cards. That is something people collect. That is something people play with. Whether it's Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, baseball, Harry Potter cards, Star Wars cards, trading cards. Magic the Gathering is another one. So we do want to talk about trading cards, playing cards, and that whole collectability business and marketing strategy behind trading cards. We'll delve right into. So that'll be our next episode first episode for 2021. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you agree or disagree with us. Keep it friendly. Keep it PG, or you're allowed to disagree or agree. Just keep it reasonable. Don't need it to be hot and divisive. But our first episode 2021, Star Wars and trading cards. Thank you for a whole year of listening to us. We hope we offered you some distraction and relief from the ills and perils of the last year. Just make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We will have more our documentary series, such as the Funko Pop documentary series will be coming out later this month into January. I'll have it out by then, and also another short where we'll discuss our favorite toy brands. There'll be a video short. So just make sure to give us your support. This is where we come to talk about toys and anything about them. So without further ado, I'm Brock Lauer.
I'm Kyle Walters.
And happy holidays and happy New Year.